I did not feel like waiting. And whoa, I am man, I don't look like I've been gaining weight. You might have to fix that. Could be the shirt. Could be the shirt. But it's also seems really ah man. Oh, but you can't see my shirt. My Vegeta. My Vegeta shirt. Brighten. Bright. Brighten. There we go. That looks pretty good, I think. Mostly good. Almost. Mostly good. Yeah. Someday. Someday we'll get it right. But okay. Feels good to be picking back up a regular schedule. I said this week will be, or at least the rest of this week will be on our politics grind. And then we are going to go back to our regular schedule of working on our certs because we got to pick that ish back up, bruv. We are behind. We're behind on a lot of things. And I refuse to be behind any further. But I've stopped all the things that was making me behind. So we're going to be good there. Yeah. It's very high quality apple juice. If anybody's asking, it's very high quality apple juice. Very good apple juice. Let me see. I look a little. Uh, nope, that's too bright. Um, too blurry. And there we go. That looks good. Oh, put you back this way. Nope. Yep, I crooked. Made the camera crooked. There we go. Yeah, that look good. I think that look good. That looks good. That looks good. And do I hit a little shuffle to make sure my other camera or like the my vertical stream has me centered properly here. Okay, things are starting to feel good. Starting to feel good, you know. Hair looking good, stream looking good. God, am I? Oh, I was gonna say I thought it. Well, actually, I look a little. Damn, man, I lotion. I remember the lotion this time. I guess. Guess. Guess it don't matter. Mm, a pretty dry place out here. Pretty dry. Uh, tighten up the hair a little bit here. Hello, guys. We're about to begin shortly. I think. What are we covering today? I have no idea. You know, I was so busy today. I was so busy today. I couldn't even stop to make any real plans. I really couldn't. I just, you know, the crazy thing is, I could have started streaming like maybe 2 hours earlier, and I was still busy. Even after work, I still ended up getting busy. Mm-mm. Oh, in case anybody wonders too, man, look, I was trimming and everything, and like I was doing good, and then when I was starting to do like over here, I sneezed. I sneezed because the pollen had caught me off guard. The pollen did catch me slipping, right? I knew how to sit there and avoid, you know, and dodge whenever like you know my body have a reaction. As soon as I got to over here, it caught me slipping, and I just as I was like in the process of sneezing. I was kind of upset. How long that's going to take to probably repair? It probably won't be as damning in like a week and a half. Luckily, I look straight at people when I'm talking to them in real life, right? You guys get inside a lot, so you might just see because you can see it right here, where it's just like right here is like where I got myself messed up, but it's all good. It's all good. But all right, let's go ahead and let's get started. Grandma downstairs ain't she ain't my grandma, by the way, my actual, but because she old. But grandma downstairs, she ain't playing nothing crazy down there, or nothing loud. Brev, craziest thing, bro. I swear, like the her demeanor and body and everything, the way she looks, right? You would not be wrong to just assume she like at least she gotta be like 60, 70 years old. All right, Rev, like it was 3 in the morning and she was playing crump music down there, like I mean like actual like crump music down there. And I just sat there and I'm just like was running with her. I was like, Brev, like, yo, she might actually like, grandma by day and like vigilante, like Slayer at night type stuff. Like she's like she had to have been getting it in down there, just break dancing, bro. That was the type of music she was playing. She was playing 3 in the morning. And the thing is, it was loud. It was like not loud, or like, all right, bruv, like I gotta go down there because like I'm trying to sleep type stuff. Even though like stuff that like that don't really bother me. I slept through worse. But like, but loud, he was like, bro, who the fuck am I? Like, excuse me, hey, you know what I mean? I say that like that, right? But who? But can't be her playing that shit down there. Ain't no way. Is that the neighbor? Like in like another building I'm hearing? I went outside. I went outside to like sit there, make sure I was hearing what I was hearing. And like, yeah, sure enough, it's coming from her. And I was like, bruh, she getting it in down there somehow. I was like, man, but she ain't doing that today. So that's good. That's good. So it'll be a nice peaceful day. I think what we're going to start with, I just want to, I want to like dabble with my AI music just a little bit first. Then I'm just, bust out my game and the AI, and then we're just gonna pick it back up where we were. I think what I'm gonna end up talking about my AI is just like I was actually on an actual real town hall. So my state representative in Congress actually had a virtual town hall, like over the phone, like called in and stuff. And I was, oh my god, bruv. I hope he doesn't. I hope like that doesn't happen while I'm at home, because I'm a sure I'm gonna stream it. I'm gonna stream the hell out of this. I'm gonna stream the hell out of this. I'm call, listen in, bro, and I'm be like, all right, hold on, like is there a reason why like you're sitting there lying? Like that was one thing he was talking about, because like when somebody was complaining about the tariffs, and he was talking about like how people took advantage of us and whatnot, and then he was like, oh yeah, Canada violated the UCMA with their the hell is shit called, their dairy tariffs. And I'm like, what? Like, isn't it didn't Trump negotiate that trade deal? And doesn't it say inside of said deal that once imports hit a certain amount into Canada, then that's when the tariff, then they're able to like enact tariffs, so like their own dairy industry doesn't get like wrecked. I'm like, it's crazy. Like it's crazy. Just like the blatant lies they sit there and do. And I think what was really pushing me off not wanting to do it over the phone was just because it's over the phone, right? So they could just sit there and um you get to ask your question, right? You can point out whatever you're gonna point out and stuff, right? But then like they can sit there and clean it up or dress it however it is they want to dress it up, and then after that, they ain't gotta sit there and they ain't gotta provide it back to you. You can't, you will never have another opportunity to bring it back up, right? Even if you're pressing whatever button to sit there asking a question about, oh yeah, nah, not him, bro. He's actually intelligent. He actually read, said documents, trade agreements, or actually, looked in the background behind certain things. So we ain't gonna call him. We're just gonna call him somebody else, and everybody else is gonna call him. Because there's some people that are just asking goofy questions like, oh, do you like, since Trump's violating the Supreme Court order to bring such and such back, do you support impeaching him? And I'm like, bro, you know damn well you is not gonna get any information. And then of course, like then the goddamn dude started the actual like congressman. Then he started he started going into this thing with like, oh, how Biden was sitting there trying to use all these different avenues for like his the education thing where like he was trying to like write off like student debt and stuff. And I'm just like bro, those are not even the same thing. Like he sat there like the Supreme Court shot him down. So instead of saying, well, I'm gonna do it anyway, then he sat there and tried to explore other legal means to sit there and do it versus Trump, who sat there and like the Supreme Court said you must bring him back, and then Donald Trump like he's not coming back, like just straight up he's not coming back. Like it's like that's just so like how do you equivocate, right? I don't want to get that word wrong. I'm like what is it, PTSD on getting that word wrong. But how do you equate the two and make it seem like they're both the same when they're not? They're absolutely not the same. But that's what I'm saying. It couldn't be me. Oh, I swear. Let him hold it in person. He said he ain't gonna have one in person like no time soon because the next like 4 weeks he's gonna be in Congress. Like they have, they're gonna be in session. I'm just like, man, just get out of here, man. I was just like, bro, I can't stand it. Don't let me go live in a don't let me go live in a town hall. Do not let me go live in a town hall. Because I'm gonna point it out. I'm gonna go motherfucker. But I'm gonna go in very tactfully. I'm like, just get out of here. Oh my God. Get some more of this apple juice. Almost died. It's how acidic the apple juice is. But all right. Let's go ahead and let's move on into our stuff here. So get my headphones. I hope everything's good. I hope everything's all right. You know what I gotta try? I have to try this Blackmagic camera microphone and see how well that actually sounds. See if I can juice it up. Cause like I would like to use this microphone when like I have like too much background noise going on, and if it's like super quiet, cause this is like really quiet. I don't have nothing making too much crazy noise. At least I don't think. Let me see. Yeah, I don't have anything even making like too much crazy, no crazy background noise. You might actually be the thing. My camera might actually be what saves me. Now that I think about it. But all right, let's get the headphones on. Let me get a moment to touch the desktop audio. Okay, let me hit the test because the little thing I was trying to click on wasn't doing nothing for me. Damn, that shit's loud. Let me put it down a little bit. Excuse me. Okay, but that's good. All right. Okay, cool. We got nothing. We're gonna get better at this, I promise. Time to switch. Okay. Here we are. Now we're getting to it. So let me see. You know what I should probably do? I should probably test this one too, right? Make sure the audio is working. You should really make sure the audio is working. The audio is barely working. Can I? Sounds good to me. Do I not have? I guess not. Yeah, okay. Well, what do I have here? It's blank. How in God's name is it blank? I could have swore I saved a thingamabob in here. Whatever. What music do I want to put back here, man? I guess you know what? I'm black. Let me do hip hop. You know something? Let me bust out. I'm gonna use my other phone, like my secondary phone here. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT. I'm gonna ask him what key. Let me get the app open first. First, let me let him know that, hey, I am trying to use Unison AI music plugins like the MIDI wizard. Because I feel like after you've updated since they've updated their databases a couple of times, I'm sure they're like familiar with it by now. Like the MIDI wizard. Are you familiar with them? Yeah, I'm familiar with them. MIDI Wizard, Drum Monkey, and others. They're essential AI tools generating chord progressions, melodies, and drum patterns, mainly aimed at producers using DAWs like FL Studio. See, I want to buy Fruity Loop Studio, but are you running into trouble getting it to work, or just curious how to use it effectively? I want to use it effectively, but before we get into that, I want to focus. Let's see. I want to focus on what? What genre? I want to focus on the genre hip hop. What what keys? What keys do you recommend? What keys do you recommend I generate the music from? Let me see what you got. Let me see what you got. For hip hop, you'll usually get the best results using minor keys since they give that dark, moodier, emotional vibe that fits well. Here are some, and he didn't tell me nothing to F. And I usually use the default and just like stick with F. Gritty and raw, good for emotional and aggressive beats. Very common, especially for trap and melodic rap, is the E minor. A minor is easy to work with, no sharps or flats, fits a wide range of styles. C minor, deep and dramatic, great for storytelling and cinematic vibes. G minor, smooth and soulful, works well for R&B and hip hop crossovers. You know what? I'm feeling G. We're feeling G today. You know what? We're gonna go G. Yeah, we're gonna hit G today. And you know what? We'll do a hybrid. Okay, you know what? But let me ask it. You know what? I've never thought about using AI to tell me how to use AI. I never thought about this before. Why didn't I think about this before? One recommendation is tell it to a specific artist or genre. I see 3 modes in MIDI Wizard. I should have been doing this on the computer, but on MIDI Wizard. Chords, hybrid, and melodies. Which one should I use? I have all the plugins that I plan to use also, if that matters. I have I'm gonna say all the Unison because I don't want to think I got this like random ass plugins. Unison. I have got to stop profanity. I'm sorry, I don't know why like my profanity is just off the chain today. Since you've got all the Unison plugins, you can actually chain them together for full control, but here's how to break down those 3 modes. Chords just give you chord progressions good for laying down the harmonic foundation. Use this if you want to build melodies or bass lines on top, or using other tools like Unison Melody. The fuck is Unison Melody? Or bass? Oh, it's just talking about like type. So the melody or bass plugins. Generates single melodic riffs. Best if you already have chords or beat any type line idea to ride over them. Hybrid combines chords and melodies, perfect for quick sketching or getting full inspiration instantly. You'll get a harmonic foundation and a lead melody in one go. Recommendation for hip hop: start with hybrid. It gives both chords and melodies. That's usually what I do. I usually stick with the hybrid. Let's do 8. Let's hit the switch and let's see where we get. Wait, is my I didn't like that beat anyway, but try to mute. For a second, I thought it was like because the way it stopped smooth. It stopped a little too smooth. That was a little sus. Like it made me thinking I had like duplicate audio or something. So I muted the desktop to just see. Now I can't. Bro, I swear to God, I can't make this up. I changed nothing. I changed nothing. I just muted something and I unmuted it, and now I can't hear. Now I can't hear anything. Oh my God, bruv. I don't. Is this a curse? Am I supposed to just give up, just trying to like mess with stuff? Maybe that's what I'm supposed to. Maybe in the end, what did they say? You know, this just ain't for you. Maybe this just really ain't for you. My nose is like itchy right here. I don't know why. You know what's crazy is that this is probably a fire beat, and it's about to just get washed away because you're nothing. I mean, please, please, for the love of God, do we get to, you know, of course, I can't hear nothing. Bro, I changed nothing. I literally changed nothing. I don't understand, bro. I changed nothing. I changed nothing in this. There was nothing changed. How do you stop playing something and then something stops working? Well, how is that possible? I pressed a button. I pressed a single button. Oh God, bro, this is crazy. I'm sitting there thinking I'm about to have a peaceful day. Yo, I legit thought I was gonna have a peaceful day, that I wasn't gonna have any tech issues. No tech issue whatsoever. I wasn't gonna have a tech issue. How could I? I didn't change anything. So we know it's the Reaper application. I know it's the Reaper application. I just need to. What is this? Why is this? Why is there 3 of them? Ooh, I don't care. I don't know. I don't wanna deal with it. I don't wanna deal with it. Let me think about this. I need to really think about this. If this don't work, I'm gonna actually be really pissed. I'm gonna be very pissed. I don't know what happened. What happened? What happened? I don't know what happened that made me experience that. But okay. Oh, calm down. Breathe. Remember your happy place when you're dealing with like this type of like issues, tech issues, please. Okay. 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 Um right, so let's actually so let's just find a good melody. to work with. It was alright. I wasn't really feeling that one. Not really feeling that one. A G minor, right? This is close. I need a little bit more edge though. Oh. Well, there we go. Okay. So we're looking at, would it be just be an application issue? Would it be an application issue that's having a problem? That it's not because that's actually acting a lot like like some type of crash. Like I would have to unload and then reload the application. Click to restart the plugin process if crash. Right, because I don't see a plug. So that's what it was, right? It just crashed. Okay. Crashed. Plugin status disabled. Right. Understand that it's disabled. So this obviously shouldn't work. Right? We understand. We understand this. Let's see. How do you restart? Am I tripping or am I tripping? Drum Monkey, do you got anything? How do I? That's kind of crazy if waveform just sits there and crash. Do I really want to? Do I run I Loop Studio like? I might end up. I need something reliable. I know FL Studio or oh yeah, see this shit doesn't even want to crash. Oh, okay. Okay. So well, thanks for letting us know. I'll just keep that in mind that waveform is trash. Okay. Didn't I put, or did I already uninstall it? Didn't I have like Reaper on here? I'm pretty sure I uninstalled it. I feel like I did. Well, sorry guys. You know, I was feeling good about the music thing. I'm not gonna stress it because I'm gonna lose my mind. If I stress over this, I'm gonna lose my mind. I know I'm gonna lose my mind. I don't understand why it's not working. I really don't. Audacity. Do we really wanna? You know what? Forget it. Let's see. I would be really surmised. It'd be a very interesting thing if it'd be really interesting if this actually pulls through. Searching for plugins. Why are you taking so long to get the Core Genie? Well, while that's doing that, let me my phone should be fully charged. Oh, yes, fully charged. And see, this time we got a fully charged phone this time. Sound Doctor. Okay, so it is still loading. Man, who's smoking that Mary J out there? That's what I smell. I smell some that Kush. Not out here in these parts. App check-in. Oh, that's from 5 incompatible. Oh yeah, well there's different like types of plugins. So this is fine. If you'd like to attempt to use these, I'm going to continue for now. I'm gonna say okay, and then I'm going to add a Let's add a stereo track. Let's go to effects, real time effects, unison. Oh, it doesn't. So they're not compatible with Audacity. Sure. What was the plugins? Import export. No, it couldn't be it. Playback. Recording, quality interface, tracks, import, export, input. No. Libraries, directories, effects. Plugin manager. Here we go. Wait, machines. Yeah, like see that, like the appropriate ones in it, because I know there's like it's like two different types that they install. Why can I not? Can I not? Is it? Wait, is it a master effect? Is it considered a master effect? And that's why Sound Doctor is in the. Maybe that's what it is. Stop it, ho. I wonder if it's like maybe it's considered like a mono track. Maybe. Let me close this real quick. Maybe it really depends on the. No, it just won't show up. Okay. Okay. Add a label track. Sorry. Guess that wasn't it. Export audio. Okay. Let me think about this, please. Do I? I'm thinking. Plugin manager, right? Plugin manager. Yeah, no. Rescan. Wait, do I need to like go there and enable them all? Maybe that's what it is. Let me let it finish scanning, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just I'm going to, what is it, Zen Doctors, like Zen Master and Sound Doctor, right? Let me just see what's enabled for those two, and then compare it with the others, and go from there. I'm upset. I was really looking forward to like having some music play. I'm giving this like 10 more minutes of my time, and then I'm gonna just give up and cry. Okay, so Zen Master. Oh, I was able to get them all. No, that VST and VST3, but they just didn't mark the other ones. You think it's just bad programming? Like, were they just really bad at their jobs? Probably. Maybe they use AI to make these things, and that's why we'll find out. Failed to register in that little library. Okay, not in work. All right, I understand. I guess we don't music. We tried. We really tried. We really tried, and just ain't gonna work. Okay. Okay. I don't understand why I can't pull up the other plugins, but okay. Like I don't understand why. Go here, right? If I hit effects, right, and then I go here, and they don't show up. Like why? Um, that's crazy. All right, well, that's that. I guess we get to move on. I guess we get the beauty of just moving on to the next thing, right? Because that didn't work. So, I'm sorry. There a reason why? There a reason why you don't want to? I don't know why my phone does that, but at least I was able to figure this out last time. And then, yes, and should come up just fine now. Yeah. Yep, yep, yep. I don't think actually I need this right here. True. Okay. Well, before I even get started on that, the game go. On that, now let's come here and get my good old AI friend. Get my good old AI friend up here. And disable the advanced thing, so we don't have the advanced thing anymore. Hey Jeffrey, we're back. Are you able to get started? I don't think it knows what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm here and locked in. Just hit me with the topic you want to run, and we'll get back in the ring. Let's go.
Oh, good. You found me. Yay.
I have to change his voice. Hold on.
Hi, glad to meet you. I think we're going to do great work together.
Okay, this should be much better. All right, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna pick up in just a minute. Let me just get some other things set up and then we can get started. All right.
Bet, take your time. I'll be right here, ready to throw hands in the arena the second you say go. Just let me know when you're set.
All right, I'm ready to go. What do you want to talk about? Do you want to like pick back up what we was discussing earlier or like last time, or do you want to talk about something else?
Aight, let's run it back with something fire. How about we shift to free speech on college campuses? Whether schools should have the right to limit certain speakers, or if that's a slippery slope towards censorship and ideological control. Or if you want to keep that heat from last time, we can jump right back into gender identity in schools and the boundaries of parental rights. Your call. What's the vibe tonight?
Well, I'm feeling the free speech one. Can you give me like a decent like summary of like the two I guess sides of the free speech argument, and then from there I'll decide like what position I'll take and have you like defend the other.
Bet. Here's the quick breakdown. Side one says free speech is absolute. Public colleges, especially, have no right to block speakers just because their views are controversial or offensive. They argue that open debate is how ideas evolve, and suppressing speech is authoritarian, plain and simple. Side two says free speech has limits, especially when it risks inciting hate, violence, or psychological harm to marginalized groups. They believe schools have a duty to maintain a safe, inclusive environment, even if that means saying no to some speakers or events. So basically, unfettered expression versus curated campus safety. What side you rolling with?
So I'm gonna go more on the free speech side, but I'm trying to like better understand like what's the issues that's kind of triggering this, because like from what you presented me, it seems like it'd be like a pretty easy like position to take where we think about like free speech in the United States. So is there like a particular, I don't know, like stress point that is making this like a debate? Because like if we're talking about just allowing people to speak in general, like so having like a controversial speaker, like even if we had like somebody like the KKK coming up the I don't know, to give like a speech somewhere, right? I mean it's still like the First Amendment in the United States. A lot of people don't, rightfully so, you wouldn't like it, and I guess for whatever reason other people that would like it, then that's hence why like he's given a speech, but that's still allowed in the Constitution. So it shouldn't be it's not really up for debate. So like what kind of context is this like revolving around to where like this is like a controversial issue?
Now we cookin'. The reason this debate even pops off is because it ain't just about what's legal, it's about what's acceptable in a community, especially on college campuses, where administration, students, and faculty all clash over what free speech really means in practice. Here's the stress point: it's when invited speakers, think folks like Ben Shapiro, Milo Yiannopoulos, or even right wing professors, come to speak, and students say their presence is harmful or violating safe spaces. Then universities get hit with the pressure: cancel the event to avoid protests or chaos, or let it rock and risk backlash, possibly even violence. And that's where the line gets fuzzy. Some say canceling them is censorship. Others say allowing them legitimizes hate speech and marginalizes vulnerable students. So while, yeah, the First Amendment protects them, the debate is whether schools should protect the platform, not just the person. That nuance is where this gets spicy. You still on the pro speech side?
So I'm most certainly still on the pro speech side, but just because like so far like none of those arguments seem to be like really I guess like was like convincing, because like when it comes to like safety and things like that, I mean just the presence of somebody and then talking about something, that alone isn't what I think brings a danger to whatever class or group of people. I guess it would be like if it's then translating, if first off, if what the person is saying is directly advocating for and directing people to then like commit harmful acts, then that's a potential like point to look at. But if it's just the fact that they're just saying something that they just don't agree with, like for example, like even though it sucks, like the transgender stuff that's been like happening a lot lately, excuse me, a lot lately, that's just a classic example that at the end of the day, like as long as they're not like advocating for like actual like harm being done, it doesn't rise to that level, at least not in my opinion, where like it's supposed to be banned. So I would say no to that, or and be on the side of like pro free speech. Can you give me a compelling argument as to why it should be otherwise?
Aight, challenge accepted. Let me push the line here like a true campus safety defender. So here's the play: it's not just about what's being said, it's about who's hearing it, where, and how it lands. Free speech in the abstract sounds great, but on campus, you've got students, often minors, sometimes barely adults, many from marginalized backgrounds who already face discrimination on the daily. Bringing in someone who says trans people are mentally ill or affirmative action is reverse racism might not be directly calling for violence, but it can reinforce a hostile culture that leads to exclusion, mental distress, and yes, real world consequences. And don't sleep on the social power dynamics. When a university gives a platform, it's not just allowing speech, it's legitimizing it. You invite someone to speak, give them a mic and a banner, and now their ideas are institutionally endorsed, even if they're trash. That ain't neutrality. That's putting marginalized students on the defensive in their own learning space. So, from this side's view, limiting speakers ain't censorship, it's curation. Campuses curate everything: curriculum, codes of conduct, events. Why should speech that undermines students' dignity get a pass? What you got?
Okay. I mean, I kind of hear you. I kind of hear you on that, but at the same time too, like campuses should be adhering to like to the principles of the country in which they're operating under. So like with respect to free speech. And this is the thing, right? At the end of the day, like I guess like a university has the right to choose what it does. So I mean, if there's a campus that like has the desire to, like, for example, to make liberal voices less heard and be more conservative, I mean, then it is what it is. Just like, as it was the same side of the coin, where if it was this conservative side being heightened at the expense of liberalism, then then it's whatever. But I just don't think that. I think it's being overly blown, because at the end of the day, I don't see what's the actual tangible harm that, for example, like a trans student. So a trans student is told they have a mental, I guess they have a mental health disorder or whatever it is, right? At the end of the day, like like people will say like hurtful or mean things to people all the time. I don't understand like why that's like why you have to be so sensitive that you just can't like it is like it's just whatever. Now I understand like policies and stuff get translated into that, but at the same time, if that's not actually being like realized, so like if college campuses aren't actually like then acting on like policy changes based off of the rhetoric being said, I really don't see what the issue is.
See, that's the problem right there. You treating speech like it exists in a vacuum, like words just hit the air and vanish. But culture is policy's training wheels, bruh. The stuff people say now is how they justify the stuff they vote for later. You think a trans kid hearing, "you got a mental illness" from a campus sponsored speaker ain't internalizing that? You think that doesn't embolden other students to harass, isolate, or marginalize that person even more? And nah, it's not just mean words. On a college campus where kids live, eat, learn, exist, those words shape the social environment. You letting people peddle dehumanizing narratives under the banner of free speech and then act shocked when marginalized students drop out, disengage, or suffer worse mental health outcomes. That ain't freedom. It's slow burn discrimination dressed in academic robes. Y'all want freedom of speech, cool, but don't pretend it's harmless. It's got ripple effects, and if schools are supposed to protect all their students, sometimes that means drawing a line when so called debate is just dog whistle rhetoric with a podium.
I kind of hear what you're saying, but at the same time, like if I'm being quite honest, it just sounds like they're just being too soft. Like really, it's just being too soft. Like if anything, colleges should be preparing you for the real world. Like, okay, so like let's say like we sit there and we police like this type of like conduct on a college campus, right? That's not to say that they're not going to face the exact same thing in the real world. So like why are we going through such lengths just to keep people from like telling them mean things when they're just going to just face it in the real world? Furthermore, now the point you brought up with actually like people actually acting on said words, like now that's a different story, right? That's a problem that then the school needs to like actually handle with the individual. An individual that acts on like the rhetoric is a problem to society and needs to be handled accordingly. But if people are just like hearing it and stuff and like pushing what's the word I'm looking for, pushing like policy changes and stuff that never are realized because the majority of people are like, this is just stupid, then I just don't really see it as a problem. Now I mean, sure, you could probably like say that, well, since it's pretty split, like I don't want to say 50-50, but it's split like really close to being like the same either way, that once like that side gets enough power, then they'll sit there and they'll enact the kind of like evil things that they wanted to do, that they've been saying. Like, sure, but in the end, like it's still a First Amendment, it's still a First Amendment issue. It's still protected speech. So like I just don't see how we can go about actually like changing anything. Oh, I forgot I had this right here. Make me this shug.
Aight, see? You just walked right into it. You said, college should prepare you for the real world. Cool, let's run with that. But tell me this. In what real world job do you get up in a boardroom and tell your coworker they got a mental illness because of their gender identity and just walk away clean? That's not real world. That's a lawsuit. Colleges are prepping students for professional spaces, not Reddit threads. And guess what? Most real world workplaces already have codes of conduct, anti discrimination policies, and HR departments ready to clap back if you try that free speech smoke in the wrong meeting. You call it soft. Nah, it's called setting boundaries for basic respect. And you keep falling back on the Constitution. Bruh, the First Amendment stops the government from punishing your speech, not
Bruh,
your
the First Amendment.
employer, not a private university, not a student body that doesn't want to host your wild opinions. So, yeah, you can say it, but freedom to speak ain't freedom from consequences. And if a university chooses to protect its students from hostile rhetoric, that's just them exercising their freedom. Let's be real. You just mad when the marketplace of ideas tells you your product trash.
Oh, hold on. So let's take that like one step at a time then, okay? So you bring the example that like if you was to do this in like in a regular workplace, like you get the business. I agree, but at the same time, like at what possible circumstance would this even be appropriate to bring up? Like if it's not part of the business, like if it has no direct like influence on the business. Now if you was talking about like in a sports setting, then like I don't see like as a matter of fact, you know what, let's even like take sports for example. So for people in like that's in control of the sports industry, when they sit there and say that, yeah, I'm sorry, you're a man and so we can't allow you to participate in this female sport, you're that's just wrong, right? There's no repercussion for that because it's legitimately true. And while you might get hurt and upset because you might generally feel like a woman, it doesn't change the unfair advantages that you have. So therefore it's like, okay, we will enforce that and not allow you to participate in women's sports because you are actually biologically a man. I don't see I really don't see the problem with that. So I'm sorry, like I'm drawing a blank on like the other examples you gave, but that was just the one that just stood out the most to me because like in a real world example, like nobody really cares like in a regular business. Like there's no cashier that's going up to another cashier and be like, hey, by the way, you're actually a guy, so it's whatever. Like that's just stupid, but that's but like I said, in sports, maybe in sports there would be a legitimate part of that. Would you not agree?
Let me stop you right there. See what you just did? You took a campus speaker talking wild about trans people and tried to compare it to eligibility rules in professional sports. That's not apples and oranges, that's apples and engine blocks. A college speaker ain't deciding who plays in what
Engine
league. They're
blocks.
there to push a worldview, often under the banner of academic legitimacy, and say things like trans women are just men in dresses. That ain't policy, it's propaganda. And when you broadcast that to a crowd on campus, you're not solving anything. You're stigmatizing students in their own damn community. You said yourself, in most workplaces, nobody walks up saying that nonsense because it's irrelevant and inappropriate. But somehow, on a campus where people live, study, and build identity, you think it's just free speech to let randos with a mic come stir the pot and bounce. That ain't discourse. That's drive-by disrespect. And don't hide behind sports policy like it justifies the rhetoric. If you want to argue for fairness in competition, cool, but that don't give anyone the right to publicly dehumanize a group of people on a campus stage and call it a lesson. There's a difference between enforcing rules and justifying slander. Don't conflate the two.
So, but what is it? Okay, so help me understand. So, what is it about saying that a trans person is not a biological gender that they're wanting to be considered as, that's actually the that's the issue. uh if you're conducting hate speech, if you're taking action based on an rhetoric, right, that's an issue, right? I can agree and get behind that's a problem that needs to be rectified. But again, right, if like what is it that allows people to be able to talk about that kind of stuff and push that kind of stuff in academia, and at the same time not allow the opposite side of that to be also be discussed at the same time. I'm having a hard time understanding that. It's not.
Aight, here's the real. The issue ain't just what's being said, it's how, where, and why it's being said. Saying a trans woman is biologically male in a clinical scientific context. That's a legit convo, especially in medical or athletic discussions. But when you bring in a speaker who frames it with, you're delusional, you're mentally ill, or you're a threat to society, that's not discussion, that's demonization. And here's the game you're missing. It ain't that the opposite side can't be discussed, it's that y'all don't want to discuss, you want to dominate. You want to go into a campus space where trans students are just trying to exist and blast them with truths under the guise of debate that always boil down to, you're not valid. That's not inquiry. That's humiliation. Academia is about challenging ideas, no doubt. But not all speech is equal in purpose or intent. If your whole counterpoint exists to invalidate someone's identity just because, then the campus ain't obligated to give you a stage. And the students sure as hell ain't obligated to stay quiet about it. You got a right to say it, but they got a right to say, nah, not here. That's free speech too, fam.
Okay, so I think we're just gonna have to agree to disagree on that, because I don't know how you can say that's free speech to say that, yeah, like you have a right to say it, you just can't say it here. But we're gonna allow like these other things to say, because then like because then like I would argue then we're no better for like on the well, I mean we're really not any better for
Ayo,
like the Republican
but that is
side.
free speech in practice, though. Like, the First Amendment protects you from government
Rude.
punishment, not from getting booed off a campus stage. Just like you can say whatever you want, others can protest, disinvite, or just straight up say, nah, we ain't platforming that. That's not censorship, that's consequences. You can scream your piece on a street corner, post a thread, rent a venue, nobody's gagging you. But if a campus community says your message don't align with their values or mission, that's their right to say no. Free speech go both ways, bruh. It ain't just protection for what you like to hear.
Hold on, but okay, so help me understand, right? So like if I was to agree with you with that, so then what's the problem with allowing these these type of things to be held on a campus, right? You just said that free speech is free speech, not just when it's something that you like to hear. So why does that not apply in this sense then, right? Like we're not these people want to sit there and they want to say what they want to say. So, and that's the whole point of free speech. I'm really having a hard time understanding like why is this any different.
Aight, real talk, you're not wrong. Technically, they got the right to say it. But here's where it flips. Having the right to speak doesn't mean having the right to a specific platform. That's the line, and that's what folks get twisted. A university ain't a public square. It's a curated institution with a mission, values, and a student body it's responsible to. If some outside speaker rolls up pushing content that the school believes actively harms its learning environment, like spreading bigoted rhetoric dressed up as debate, they got every right to say, nope, not on our stage. It's not about banning ideas. It's about institutional discretion. Campuses turn down speakers all the time, left and right, based on fit, content, or controversy. That's normal. And let's be real. If a far left activist came in spitting anti Christian rhetoric or mocking conservative students, y'all would be first in line screaming for cancellation. So don't pretend this is just about free speech. It's about whose speech you want protected and who you think should just toughen up.
Okay, I think we're gonna leave that there. Can you give me another example that you want to discuss, or a different type of topic you want to discuss, and then we can go from there? Where am I getting an oil leak from?
Bet.
Right
Let's
here.
switch it up and keep the heat going. How about we dive into gun control? Specifically, should there be a national ban on assault style weapons like the AR 15? One side argues it's necessary to reduce mass shootings and civilian casualties. The other says it's unconstitutional, ineffective, and punishes law abiding gun owners. You trying to defend the Second Amendment this time, or you want to challenge it?
Okay, so I'm going to pick the position uh, that I support the Second Amendment. I just, for this one's going to be a little more difficult because to me, I really can't understand why it's so difficult to support the Second Amendment while also having people support common sense form of laws like red flag laws and things like that. So I'll tell you what. So I'm gonna go with protecting the Second Amendment, and you can go with against it, i.e., like wanting to ban the weapons, and we'll go from there. So I'll let you go ahead and start us off.
Hey, I'm coming in hot on this one. Look, nobody's saying you can't own a pistol to protect your crib, but AR 15s, high capacity mags, that ain't about self defense. That's about fantasy warfare. These weapons were designed for combat, not the suburbs. And every time there's a mass shooting, it's the same story. AR 15, hundreds of rounds, multiple victims, and a community left shattered. You call it protecting the Second Amendment? I call it willful negligence. Ain't no deer hunter need a 30-round mag. Ain't no grandma fending off home invaders with an M4 clone. The Second Amendment wasn't written so your cousin could LARP as a Navy SEAL. You want to keep your rights? Cool. But rights come with limits. Just like you can't yell fire in a theater, you don't need battlefield gear to defend your lawn.
Okay, okay, I could kind of give you that. The rights do have limits, but I'm trying to understand. So I tell you what, let's explore this a little bit instead of really actually just trying to argue main points. I want you to give me examples. So like, are you trying to tell me that we should just outright ban assault rifles? So like regular, so is regular handguns okay? Is machine handguns okay? Like rocket launchers? Like I'm trying to see like where's the limitation, because at the end of the day the Constitution says the right to bear arms, and I want to know what it is that we're looking at exactly. So grandma posted up with the heat, boy. Got grandma
Bet.
posted.
I'm glad you asked, because this is where the anti gun crowd slides in slick. So here's the typical breakdown they push.
Cut him
Handguns,
off.
mostly okay. Used for self defense, close quarters, personal protection. Shotguns and bolt action rifles. Also fine hunting, sport, home defense. Semi automatic rifles like AR 15s. That's where they draw the line. The argument is they fire rapidly, accept high cap mags, and are used disproportionately in mass shootings. Fully automatic weapons, machine pistols, RPGs, tanks, and your cousin's homemade Iron Man suit, already heavily restricted or outright banned for civilians under current federal law. So when they say ban assault weapons, they're really targeting rifles like AR 15s, AK variants, guns that look and function too close to military gear. The vibe they push is you don't need an instrument of war to defend your front door. But see, here's where it breaks. Once you ban one gun based on looks and potential, what's next? A Glock with a 15-round mag? A 22 rifle with a red dot? That slope, it's looking real slippery.
Okay. I mean, I could kind of understand that. So what you're saying is that once we allow, some guns to be banned, like we're just allowing, or we're just opening it up for other guns to be banned because people are going to want to always push it out, right? What's that saying? You get somebody an inch and they'll take a mile eventually. Uh, I mean, okay. I mean, I get it. I can see that, but again, right? we can easily, I mean, we could just like the kind of like resistance that we're given now. Why don't we just give resistance to those, to when those type of things come up? Why not just support the things that would just make sense? Like, like if somebody is experiencing a mental health issue, to like temporarily like hold their guns, which, and that could kind of go, both ways depending on like how that legislation is written. But then like when people are trying to like take that mile, then that's when you're like, yeah, like no, like this, you're going too far with this. Now we're going to like absolutely block you. I don't understand this, because what I'm worried about is that there's inaction that's going to be done on this, and then what's going to end up happening is that as like the horror which is the reason why you have your side that you have, as it's experiencing more and more losses, more and more people are going to eventually come in enough numbers to then completely rescind gun rights to begin with. So why are we just allowing that type of scenario to breed, where we could just like do the things that make sense and stop the things that don't?
I feel that. And you're actually hitting on the biggest tension in the whole debate: common sense versus the long game. But here's how my side plays it: we don't trust just a little regulation, because history shows temporary laws always come back louder. You give them red flag laws, next they redefine mental health to include said something weird online. You give them universal background checks, next they want a federal registry. You compromise today, and tomorrow they're on CNN talking about how we need to ban weapons of war again. Same rhetoric, just move the goalpost. And sure, resistance can show up later, but by then, the Overton window's already shifted. What used to be extreme becomes reasonable, and suddenly we're explaining why your 12 gauge now needs a permit. So yeah, we could talk common sense, but once you let them define what that means, you've already lost the frame. That's why my side digs in hard, not because we don't want safety, but because we've seen what reasonable looks like when the government's holding the pen.
Okay, so what's the alternative to that then, right? So if we sit there and like we just forever, um, we forever block this kind of stuff. Like, what's the alternative? How are we able to achieve safety if every single safety measure that's being presented is going to be seen as an attempt to infringe on gun rights? Then,
Real talk? The alternative ain't banning or restricting, it's enforcing what we already got and fixing the actual failures in the system. Most of these mass shooters, they slipped through existing laws. Background checks weren't followed up, law enforcement ignored red flags, or mental health reports weren't processed. That ain't a lack of laws, it's a lack of execution. You want to save lives? Start with enforcing current gun laws properly, fund mental health infrastructure, and stop letting the justice system kick threats down the road. And if we're being serious, hard and soft targets. Schools, malls, public venues, they got millions in budget for diversity seminars, but won't spend a dime on actual security. You want to reduce shootings? Make it harder for bad actors to get in, not harder for good folks to defend themselves. Safety ain't about stripping rights, it's about handling business where the system's already failing. That's the play.
okay, that's that would I would definitely, I can get behind that and would agree. So so what do we do to convince people then to actually adopt that? Because like I said, your position doesn't want to give an inch. So what do we do to actually like push those kind of solutions forward?
Boom. That's the $1 million question right there. The move is simple: shift the convo. Stop letting the other side frame it like gun owners don't care about safety. Nah, we flip that and say we're the ones with real solutions that don't punish innocent people. So, what do we push? Data, hit them with stats. How many mass shooters passed background checks they shouldn't have? How many warning signs got ignored? How many gun-free zones turned into target zones? Then we campaign for accountability. Make it loud. If a background check system fails, someone gets fired. If a DA lets a dangerous person slide, they get called out. It's about competence, not control. And lastly, get ahead of the narrative. Don't just say no to bans. Say yes to solutions that protect both lives and rights. Because if we don't bring the fix, they'll bring the ban.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave that one. I'm going to leave that conversation at it because, yeah, that's pretty good. And then what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try like, be a little, dig in a little bit more on, on a particular side that we don't just eventually come together on. Or maybe that's maybe more preferred. Maybe it's good that we do that. Okay. So let's go ahead and, what's the next topic you got for us? We'll do one more and then we might, like, you know, switch it outside of politics just as a means of taking a quick break.
All right, let's end this round on some straight up fire then. How about affirmative action? Should colleges or employers consider race as a factor in admissions or hiring to promote diversity? One side says it's necessary to level the playing field after centuries of systemic inequality. The other says it's straight up discrimination in reverse, punishing people today for the sins of the past. You trying to run with the pro-affirmative action side or the anti-side this time?
Okay, so if I understand correctly, because this is about affirmative action, so uh if I understand correctly, wasn't the just the whole issue with affirmative action was just that like basically it's like actually tied really closely to like the DEI thing where you got people that probably the arguments that people do, there's people that don't deserve like the position or slot that they're getting, but they're getting it anyway because of the sake of diversity, that can be seen as what would it be, what would you call it, like reverse racism basically. Is that the main issue when we talk about affirmative action? I'm realizing my thing isn't working, and so I don't see any of the chats.
Yeah, that's pretty much the heartbeat of the argument against it. The anti-affirmative action crowd says it's basically institutionalized favoritism, where someone can lose out on a spot even if they got better qualifications, just because the school or company wants to hit a diversity target. They call it race-based discrimination in the name of equity, and they say that's just swapping one injustice for another. Like instead of fixing inequality, it just shifts who gets left behind. And it hits hardest in hyper-competitive spaces like Ivy League schools or elite job placements, where one slot can make or break a future. So yeah, it gets lumped right in with DEI policies. They say it rewards identity over merit and turns race into a political scoring system instead of something personal.
Okay, so I am sorry, guys. I didn't realize that the chat thing had went down for a bit, but I just fixed it, so I should be able to catch anybody that's like coming through. I was wondering what was happening. I was looking weird like that, but all right. So now let me pick this back up. Um, Okay, so like on one hand, so I'm like a little bit torn on this because like on the one hand, I understand like we at the end of the day we should be getting like the cream of the crop and the best kind of people. But let's not like forget that like the root like what the root purpose of affirmative action was, right? That was to sit there and that was to give the disadvantaged a chance because they were starting off at such a poor position compared to their counterparts, right? Like after, you know, what is it, slavery and everything, and like all of the like the way like the post slavery, post reconstruction era, post civil rights era, the environment that was left for black people to try and like basically force as many disadvantaged communities into a position to possibly get a fighting chance than they would have otherwise had, which would have allowed them to potentially like, you know, make a gap that they would otherwise never have been able to achieve. Now, on one hand, I understand that you could argue that this set up people to fail, because obviously, if you're not built, or you're not proficient in being able to do it, putting you in a position where that proficiency is expected doesn't necessarily mean you're going to meet it. But at the same time, too, it doesn't necessarily mean you won't rise to the challenge if you had the opportunity to do so. So at best, I would sit there and say that we just don't have that anymore. And I think that, like, now society is in a position where even the disadvantage has a little bit more of an equal playing field to achieve the same kind of results as the people that have the advantage, albeit of course there's always going to be like some what's the word I'm looking for, some like disparities between like the two groups, but it's like nowhere near the gap we was facing in the past.
Yo, you just laid out the whole internal conflict baked into this debate. But let me hit you with the hard counter. If we really had a level playing field now, we wouldn't even need to be having this convo. You're right. Affirmative action was created as a correction, a way to break through a system that had structurally locked out entire groups. But just because the signs came down doesn't mean the barriers disappeared. We still got schools in rich zip codes feeding elite colleges, while underfunded schools barely have working HVAC. Networking, legacy admissions, social capital, all still tilted. So when folks say we don't need affirmative action anymore, they're ignoring the quiet pipelines that still advantage certain groups, just in more polished, subtle ways. And about merit? Come on, that ain't objective. Test scores, resumes, GPAs, they're all filtered through opportunities most people never had access to. Affirmative action isn't about picking unqualified people. It's about recognizing potential that gets overlooked because the system was never built to see it. So nah, the job ain't finished. You don't take off the cast just because the bone stopped hurting. You wait till it's strong enough to stand on its own. We ain't there yet.
I mean, I get it, but I would argue, but how do you contest with the point that it's still like almost a direct case of reverse discrimination then, right? Like I can understand like making the exception back then, but like now, the disadvantaged communities aren't as like far apart from the people that are born with families that have like decent wealth. Like granted, okay, I don't want to sound insensitive, right? I get it, like the rich family can sit there and pay for tutors, pay for good food for the student, right? The student always has like the resources to be able to do stuff, and maybe like the poor student might not always have the best stuff, might not have the best diets and stuff that can impact their ability to learn, maybe a toxic environment, whether that's like external or internal, with respect to the student, but like that's just something that over time we have to work on other things to fix. We can't fix it by just immediately blocking students that are very proficient, that are very smart, that could be leading the innovation, leading the development of solutions out to the side, just because they, don't have a certain ethnic background. How do you contend with that?
Right. Here's the gut punch from the pro affirmative action side. You act like it's a zero sum game, but the system was already rigged before we showed up. You're talking about high achieving students getting blocked. But let me ask, where's all that energy when legacy admissions take up seats just because someone's dad donated a library? Where's the outrage when a mediocre rich kid slides through because his SAT tutor cost more than someone's rent? See, affirmative action isn't about punishing qualified students. It's about interrupting a cycle where qualified really just means polished by privilege. And if the cost of rebalancing that system means one less 1600 SAT, three sport, fluent in Mandarin, suburban golden child misses Harvard, that's a trade a lot of folks are willing to make because that same kid still has 1,000 doors open. Meanwhile, that underdog kid who clawed their way out of a food desert with no Wi Fi and still managed to shine, that slot changes their entire bloodline trajectory. That ain't reverse discrimination, that's course correction.
Um. Okay. So the crazy thing is that okay, I'll agree with you to an extent. Okay. Let me give you some of that. So how do you contend that with anti-discrimination laws, right? At the end of the day, right, if somebody was to take a hard stance, if somebody with the ability to enforce the decision was to take a hard stance against that, or a hard stance on that, right, we would need to be able to stand them in front of a jury and be able to prove to the jury that this doesn't rise to the level of criminal misconduct, in that this is a violation of an anti-discrimination law. How do we sit there and what's the argument that this doesn't constitute discrimination in the legal sense? Because at the end of the day, morality is one side of it, but if it's not paired with like actual text and law, then it truly means nothing.
Facts, you're hitting the core now: law versus intent and how we frame it. So here's how the pro affirmative action side beats the legal discrimination argument in court. They don't select based only on race. That's the key legal out. Race is considered as one factor in a holistic review, alongside socioeconomic status, GPA, extracurriculars, essays, all of it. So legally, it ain't "we picked you because you're black." It's your background added context to your achievements. That nuance matters in court. Plus, the law does allow for remedial action to address historic discrimination. That's baked into civil rights precedent. If a university can show it's trying to correct systemic inequality or boost diversity for compelling educational reasons, it's not automatically discriminatory under current precedent. Now, yeah, SCOTUS already moved the goalpost with the recent rulings, basically saying, nah, not good enough. But that was a political bench, not an objective reading. It doesn't erase the argument that intention plus outcome broad review, illegal discrimination. It's not about giving handouts to black kids. It's about recognizing when two students walk into the same test with completely different burdens on their back, and giving admissions officers the legal room to factor that in without being boxed in by colorblind nonsense.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. Then, so what you're telling me is that we can allow certain other factors to be considered in a student's like admission, but it doesn't, it won't be considered directly just based off of their skin. It'll just be based off of their background. So what does that, can you give me an example of what exactly that would look like? So are we just saying that, like, for example, we're going to say like income, like, hey, your family background, your family only makes $40,000 a year, so like therefore you'll have a heightened position and possibly being admitted versus like the other person who has a family that has an income of 100,000 a year. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the exact pivot schools are now making after the Supreme Court slapped down race based affirmative action. Instead of saying we're giving you a boost because you're black or Latino, now it's like, tell us your story, your environment, struggles, what you had to overcome. So, yeah, income is a factor: neighborhood, school quality, first gen college status, all that goes into it. Here's how it might play out. Two students both got a 3.8 GPA. One went to a well funded private school with SAT prep, summer programs, and AP classes out the wazoo. The other went to an under resourced school with zero APs, worked a part time job to help pay bills, and still managed that same GPA. Even without saying a word about race, that context gives admissions officers a way to say, yo, this student had to grind harder to hit the same mark. That's the workaround. It ain't perfect and it ain't race explicit, but it's how schools are trying to keep the mission alive without catching legal smoke.
Okay, I want to say that that's a bit of that's kind of false because like the situation you gave me, I don't think like people are arguing that. Like if somebody's sitting there and they are two people with the same academic performance, but one comes from a disadvantaged background, so they had to work harder to achieve the same thing. Uh, like sure, I'm sure people will probably still argue against that anyway. But like I would sit there and I would agree with you that yeah, we should probably give it to the other student that sitting there working a job and all this other extra stuff. Sure, but the argument, like the key point of the reason why this is an issue is because what we're saying is that in that same situation where the student that actually has everything has a GPA of like 4.0, or in some high schools that let you take college credit stuff while in high school above a 4.0, and then they're being denied admission for somebody like the 3 point, I forgot what it was exactly, but let's say like this 3.6, the 3.6 GPA student that was doing all this extra stuff in order to be able to live and survive, and was able to achieve that grade, but it just wasn't as high as the person who was basically privileged. How do we stand that up against in the court of law?
Hey, you caught the nuance. Respect. That is the core heat. The 4.3 GPA golden child with perfect scores getting passed over for someone with a lower GPA because they had a harder life. It feels unfair on paper, but that's exactly where the legal shield kicks in. See, the courts don't say you have to pick the most qualified student based purely on numbers. College admissions are subjective by design. They're allowed to say we're not just looking at who performed best, we're looking at who showed resilience, leadership, and potential relative to their circumstances. So when the 3.6 student gets in over the 4.3, it's not framed as a rejection of merit. It's framed as, you both are impressive, but this student's achievements tell us more about grit, adaptability, and what they'll bring to our community. And that argument has legal legs if race isn't the explicit factor. The law doesn't ban weighing adversity, it bans racial preference. So if adversity tracks with race, that's not illegal as long as race isn't used as a standalone factor. And that's how it stays upright in court. It might feel like a dodge, but legally, that context-based evaluation is how admissions officers stay in bounds.
Okay. So I completely agree with you there, right? So it's just not so much so can you help me understand? So like I would have, like, based off of what you're describing to me, I would have assumed that that's what was already happening. Is that not what was happening already before? Were they actually doing admissions just strictly by race and race alone, and not any of the other underlying factors that say that this person was disadvantaged? And then also, in addition to that, I'm trying to understand, because like I can think of a way where that still might not be a good thing, because a disadvantaged person may not like really be able to articulate their, like, just how bad of a life, I guess, that they had, so I don't know. I really don't I don't know how I feel about. I'm leaning towards like agreeing with you, but I'm trying to like fill in the, like, those little bit of missing pieces, if you can help me.
Yo, you're asking all the right questions now. This the deep end, and you swimming. First off, nah,
No.
they weren't doing admissions strictly by race alone. That's a myth pushed heavy by the anti-affirmative action crowd. Schools used race as one factor in a holistic review, just like legacy status,
It only takes
geography,
one
intended
factor.
major, or hardship. It was more like a tiebreaker or a context booster, not a standalone pass. You couldn't just check a box and get in. It had to be tied to your broader profile. Now, on your second point, bruh, that's the real problem with this post affirmative action world. When schools rely on life story instead of race, they're basically saying, hey, kid from a struggling background, tell us your trauma eloquently in under 650 words. And if you don't say it right, if your essay don't hit, you might not even get seen for what you've been through. That favors the kids who already had access to counselors, editors, or just the emotional space to put their struggle into words. So, yeah, it's cleaner legally, but in practice, it might actually underserve the exact students affirmative action was meant to lift up. So, you're right to feel conflicted. It's not as clean as people make it seem, and even the legal workaround has cracks. That's why this debate ain't going away. It just shapeshifted.
Okay, okay. I kind of, I kind of have a little bit of a understanding on that. Can you give me like the details then behind that affirmative action Supreme Court case? So what is it that was used as an argument that I guess made the Supreme Court basically say affirmative action is illegal? Like I never had a chance to actually read the court case. So if you could kind of help me understand like what was the justification for striking down affirmative action that was actually being backed by whatever policy or actions being taken on the college campuses.
Yeah, I got you. This was the Students for Fair Admissions vs. Harvard case, and it popped off hard in 2023. Here's the breakdown. The plaintiffs, backed by a conservative activist named Edward Blum, argued that Harvard and UNC too were violating Title VI of the Civil Rights Act and the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment by using race as a factor in admissions. The twist: the suit wasn't brought by white students. It was led in large part by Asian American students, claiming they were being penalized to make room for Black and Latino students. The core claim was that Asian American applicants were scoring lower on subjective personal ratings, even when their academic scores were higher. That made it look like Harvard was quietly using race as a backdoor quota system, even though they denied it. Now, the Supreme Court's conservative majority said, yeah, you can't use race as an admissions factor, even as part of a holistic process, because it lacks measurable, objective
Factor.
limits
One
and it
factor.
violates equal protection. They said it's too vague, opens the door to bias, and even if the intention is good, it still ends up treating people differently based on race. Chief Justice Roberts basically said the way to stop discrimination on the basis of race is to stop discriminating on the basis of race. That was the knockout punch. He said you can still talk about your background, your experiences, etc., but race can't be a formal part of how admissions decisions are made. So the ruling didn't ban talking about race, it banned considering it as a variable. That's why schools are now pivoting to essays and lived experience to still capture that context without breaking the new rule. It was a clean legal cut, but a messy social fallout.
Okay, so see, because in my mind, I was already thinking that that yeah, the you can't the moment you had the moment they involved race that was just going to be lost. But but honestly, it actually sounds like to me that there's not really much of a concern there because yeah, you just take race out of it and you just rely on other things that you can still closely track the race, right? That just wouldn't actually be exclusive to race. So it sounds like to me, that we're still, I guess, as far as the intent of trying to give people, the people that are disadvantaged, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, the same opportunities and stuff is not actually really impacted much, right? It's just I mean I don't know how much was there any like indication of like how much of a weight that these people were putting onto race versus all the other factors, or was it just like if I just made an arbitrary number, like it was still like 5% compared to came from poor background, 5% didn't have access to a school that had at least $1 million in funding annually, 10 points, like that kind of stuff.
Yo, you're dead on with the vibe. Most people thought this case was going to blow up affirmative action, but in practice, it was already pretty surgical, not heavy handed. Like race wasn't some 40-point booster. It was more like a soft lens, not a hammer. Schools never published a race point system because legally they couldn't. But in stuff like Harvard's internal data from Discovery in the case, race might have tipped the scale for maybe a few percent of applicants. It wasn't overriding academic merit, it was just contextualizing it. So, yeah, after the ruling, schools just pivoted. Instead of this student is black, it becomes this student wrote an essay about growing up in a neighborhood affected by systemic underinvestment. It's not technically race-based, but you know what it's pointing at. What changes now is less about results and more about how careful schools have to be. They gotta act like race doesn't matter while still reaching for the same mission. It's performative compliance in some ways, but the core goal, still alive, just gotta word it smarter.
Okay. No, that actually makes quite a bit of sense to me. I could kind of fall behind that. So okay, so it's actually not as bad as I originally anticipated. So at least that part's okay. All right. So I think we're pretty much kind of good on this particular topic. So now we're going to take a quick politics break and talk about something else. Do you have anything going on in the world? You know, as a matter of fact, now that I think about it, there's been like some discussion for like at least a week now, for about a week, about I think like what, a gorilla versus like 100 humans or something like that. Do you know anything about that?
Oh, yeah, you already know I'm locked in on that wild debate. Gorilla versus 100 unarmed humans?
Yeah, that one. What can you tell me about that debate? Where's that even coming from? Like, so what's the debate? Can like what? Can the humans survive, or can they like beat the gorilla? What is it? I don't have titanium in this one. Let me end it, and then I'm gonna restart it because I think I had to press something. That's the reason why. All right. Okay, let me which model? Here.
Oh, yeah. You already know I'm locked in on that wild debate. Gorilla versus 100 unarmed humans. That's been tearing the internet apart, fam. People out here really split. Some say the gorilla easily bodies all 100, like no contest. 'Cause we're talking about a 500-pound muscle tank, with the strength of like 10 grown men, speed, instinct, and just raw violence. One swing and your ribcage turns into Jenga blocks. But then you got folks saying, hold up, 100's a lot, right? Like even if the first 30 get folded instantly, the rest could overwhelm it eventually. Zerg just swarming it from all sides. The real question is, are these 100 people coordinated, or are they panicking and running like headless chickens? That changes everything. What side you leaning on? Gorilla domination or human numbers game?
Yo, hold on. I'm crying, bro. He said, "Yo, they we say punching the rib cage and just get folded." my God, man. I love it, bro. My prior instructions, bro, they're really bearing fruit, and I'm like all for this. I am really like all for this on on how this is being done. Let me see what he said. Said, hold up, 100's a lot. Okay, like even the first 30 get folded instantly, and that's a gorilla putting in some work, bro. Instantly fold 30 people, the fold 30 people instantly, bruv. Like that's pretty impressive, bro. Like that's a gorilla, like like just like every fist is like KOing somebody. That's crazy. But yeah, something, I don't know. I'd have to think about this. Now I have to think about this because I don't know. I'm like, I got so distracted by like just how like my AI my instructions are making my AI just more and more just fun to work with on stuff. But let me see. Um, what would I say? I think I think 100 are probably going to get folded by a gorilla. Okay, let me actually turn my AI back on. Unfortunately, it's going to be the other voice, but I wonder if it'll let me. Let me think about this for a second. Does it automatically like put through? No, it doesn't. Okay, so because I was wondering just getting around it, but I think I'm gonna stick with the sad voice. Yeah, I think I am gonna stick with this.
Sorry, I'm having issues right now. Could not.
Hi, glad to meet you. I think we're going to do great work together. Where shall we start?
Hey there. I've got a really great feeling about us teaming up.
Quick sanity check. How are you doing today? I just want to see if it changes voices or not. Or if it's still like the
Hey, I'm
same.
posted up chillin', ready to
It
cook.
doesn't.
Hi, glad to meet you.
Body
just
tag
put
for
you back
something
there.
or just vibin'.
All right, so let me just pick back to it. Okay, so 100 unarmed men versus a gorilla. Um, I'm gonna have to sit there and say that the gorilla most certainly wins because like just like the strength. I mean, the strength of a gorilla alone. Like even though 100 people is a lot, it's still a gorilla. Like we're talking about. I'm assuming we're talking about like an adult. Like not necessarily. It doesn't have to necessarily be apex, but like just a standard adult like silverback gorilla. Like he's packing up 100 people, and even if they're coordinated and stuff like by hand, like they'll never be able. Like I don't like you can only like only so many bodies can grab a particular limb, you know, and so it's like maybe with like some like maybe unearthly like cyborg type of coordination you might be able to like halt or stop a gorilla, but you're not beating the gorilla. Like the moment like you let him go, he's gonna murk that whole group. Now if we was talking like 10,000. Now we was talking like 10,000 people. 10,000 people is defeating a gorilla. 10,000 people are going to beat a gorilla because the gorilla is going to like get too tired by like maybe like the third hunt, like the 300th person, and at that point, excuse me, you know the 300th. The 300th person, and then after that, like like everybody else is just able to just go in and just like basically beat the gorilla, even though it's like low damage. But at the end of the day, like a damaged hit point of 1 still accumulates over time, and so like they're gonna be able to beat the gorilla. Do you disagree? Maybe 200, maybe 250, maybe 250 people might actually be able to. I'm gonna
Nah,
argue with them on that.
I ain't gonna lie. I agree with like 90% of what you said. 100 unarmed dudes, that gorilla's cooking them like it's a warm up round. You could maybe swarm it, but the first wave getting folded like laundry. The grip strength alone, bone snapping levels. Now 10,000? Yeah, that's different. At some point, sheer numbers just overwhelm biology. It's like fighting a tsunami with your fists. Don't matter how strong you are, it's too much. The only caveat I'd toss in, you gotta factor morale. That first 2,000 watching people get ragdolled might decide, you know what? I'm good. So my only challenge to you, what's the minimum number of humans you think it'd take realistically to guarantee the gorilla loses, assuming all humans press forward, no matter what?
I would sit there and say, I was just thinking about it, right? I would sit there and say, I think 250. I think 250 would probably be enough to beat a gorilla, right? 100 would be really, really, really pushing it. But 250, I think 250 could pack up a singular gorilla, right? Because if you can just if you could just pin it down, which quite a bit of y'all are gonna get folded and packed up, but if you could just actually pin it down enough, and then like once it's like pinned down to the ground, then you just stack bodies on top of bodies on top of each other to just like create the compressing weight to like you I guess like restrict the breathing or whatnot of the gorilla. I think you might be able to do some damage. Now you might end up like hurting some of your other people in doing that, so it might not be without also additional sacrifice. But if you at least maybe like after you pin down the gorilla, you start off with the bodies of the humans that it already packed up, maybe it might not be as bad. But that's what I'm gonna go with on that. What do you think? Yeah, I got like 10 more, less than 10 more waves.
Yo, that's actually a cold strategy, using the fallen as sandbags to hold the gorilla down. That's ruthless efficiency right there. I respect it, and I agree. 250 seems like the breaking point, where you got enough mass to maybe overwhelm it before it just starts flinging folks like dodgeballs. But it's still mad risky. Like that gorilla got football player speed, UFC level grappling, and Mike Tyson knockout power all in one. You mess up the pin even once, it's going to start tearing through bodies again, like it's in berserker mode. So let me throw one at you. Same scenario, but now the humans can wear football padding, no weapons, still unarmed. You think that drops the number needed?
Nope, because like the football padding will still work against the humans, right? Because like for example, like the most important thing is going to be grip, right? So like if you're sitting there and you're trying to like hold on to a gorilla, and the gorilla is able to get like something really solid to grab onto you, because like like let's say that shirtless versus somebody with like football padding gear on, right? Like you're it's gonna be kind of hard unless the gorilla takes a grab at your limbs, right? That gorilla is not getting a grip on you like he would if you had a shirt, or you actually you had a vest on, right? Like you're getting handled like something terrible if you got any type of like grabbable material on, if you're going to fight a gorilla.
You facts. That gorilla grabbing a shoulder pad like it's a suitcase handle and just yeeting dudes across the field. You're basically giving him grip assists. It's like putting rope handles on your body. Terrible idea. Plus, that padding ain't saving you from the raw kinetic violence of a gorilla punch. That's internal bleeding, shattered ribs, and your soul leaving your body. So yeah, in this case, less might be more. Fighting that thing shirtless, low-key might give you the only edge you can get. All right, next twist. Same gorilla, but now the humans are all professional wrestlers. No weapons. You changing your number?
Hold on. Let me think. So like they're professional. Like what kind of like professionals did you say that they are?
Professional wrestlers, like WWE style. Big dudes trained in slams, holds, and choreographed fights. So they're strong, athletic, and used to throwing bodies. But they ain't trained killers or real submission experts like MMA fighters. You rockin' with that lineup?
They getting especially folded. Like like wrestlers? Nah, wrestlers like 250 mm, 250 wrestlers maybe, like, but that might actually even would work against them, where I feel like they might not, they might be more fine-tuned to like do things that just won't work on a gorilla. Like I don't know, like okay, like even if you had the strength to possibly pick up a silverback gorilla and like throw him on its back or like his head, right? like it's not, he doesn't have the same fragility as if you was like dropping another human being on his neck. Like he's just gonna get up and then he's just gonna body slam you immediately after that. So I don't think that works, fam. I just, it doesn't seem like it's going, that doesn't seem like it's gonna work.
Sorry, I'm having issues right now. Could not understand what you said.
Wrestlers isn't gonna work. A wrestler just isn't gonna be able to like achieve the same kind of results that they would if they was wrestling a human being, right? Like dropping somebody on their neck might be fatal, but if you drop a gorilla on his neck, he's probably going to get up and like choke slam you.
Exactly. Like you body slam a gorilla, that thing's just going to look at you like, that's it. Then proceed to German suplex you through the Earth's crust. A gorilla's spine ain't built like ours. It's dense, compact, and brutally resilient. So all that high-flying elbow drop stuff is just wasted energy. So yeah, wrestlers ain't lowering the number. Honestly, they might even be more confident than smart, which gets them clapped faster. You think MMA fighters would make a difference, though? Or nah?
An MMA fighter might actually make the difference, because if you think about an MMA fighter, MMA fighter would be more trained to, deliver potentially lethal blows, and like some like pretty damaging grips, especially on like individual body, like limb parts, right? So like they would be more trained to like to do harm than I think any other like class of people might be able to. I mean, obviously besides like assassins, but we're not, talking about that. So I'm gonna go with like yes on the MMA fighters.
Yeah, I feel you on that. MMA fighters got that killer instinct and know how to break joints, choke arteries, and control movement, even if it's just for a few seconds. And if anyone's going to figure out the exact angle to pop a gorilla's elbow or restrict blood flow, it's them. That said, they still not soloing no gorilla, but swap out like 50 regular dudes for 50 trained MMA fighters in that 250. Now you got a real shot at making it work clean. You think that's enough to drop the number even lower? Like maybe to what, 150?
Okay, okay, so MMA fighters, I think they might be able to get away with 150. 150 MMA fighters might, I can see people arguing that yeah, like this works out. So I'm gonna go with MMA fighters are able to like pack a gorilla at 150. So okay, so that was fun. That was a nice like fun little discussion. I'm actually we'll end it there for that particular topic. Can you find me one more like random non-political topic that we can discuss before we get back into politics?
Bet. That was a fire little mental cage match. All right, how about this one? If humans had tails, like full functional prehensile tails, how different do you think society would look today? Think fashion, architecture, combat, even relationships. You rocking with that one?
So when you say tails, can you give me a little bit of more description on like the tail? What's the tail looking like? Are we talking tail like how cats' tails look? Are we talking tails of like how an ox's tail look? Or are we talking tails like fantasy tails, like a I don't know, like what is it, like a succubus kind of tail, or like a or what is it, the little demon tails? Um, like what are we looking at?
Great question. Let's go with something functional, like a monkey tail, prehensile, strong enough to grab and hold things, maybe support partial body weight, about 3 to 4 feet long, flexible, with a fine coat of hair like a primate. No fantasy spikes or demon points, just real utility built into it. So not decorative, useful. How you think that changes the game?
Um, hmm. I kind of think about it. So like a decorative kind of tail. I think that's probably gonna fall more in line with like a bit on the fashion statement. It like how much actual utility will the tail give? Like, are you able to grab things with the tail? Is it just like strictly for show, or do we have like control, like where we could actually use it, like it supports our body weight, it can grab things? Like, give me a little bit more, little more info to work with here.
Yep, this tail is full utility. Think like a third arm, but more flexible, wraps around stuff, holds objects, supports body weight in bursts. You could hang from it, pick up bags, hold tools, maybe even strike with it in a fight. Total control, built into your nervous system from birth. Given all that, how you think cities, jobs, or even dating might have evolved differently if we all had one from the jump.
Oh, I mean, a tail. You know what? A tail. I would actually argue a tail would probably significantly change how dating's done, right? Because I think like what, like from a male looking at a woman, right? A male looking at a female, we're able to immediately see a lot of things that we may or may not, that we may or may not appreciate or like. But for a woman, like women typically have to rely more so on I guess like the kind of actions or results that they see a person, like looks is one thing, but like it's kind of like useless. I would argue it's kind of like useless to a woman more or less, so they need to be able to actually see actual actions and things being done. So I would I'm really I'm thinking about this as best I can here. So I would sit there and say that it would make I think it would actually probably heighten competition with respect to like how women date men more, right? This is because this would be definitely be a significant contentious point for men to like. I don't know if it's like the size of the tail, the capability of the tail. I guess if somebody got like a bent tail, it's just kind of like a wrap for them. Like if they were short, uh, yeah, I'm gonna kind of go with that.
Yo, that's a wild take, and I love it. A busted tail really would be the new receding hairline or dad bod. Like, girl, did you see the way his tail just dragged on the ground? Tragic. Meanwhile, dudes out here flexing tail dexterity like, watch me open this wine bottle real quick. And you right, women would get a whole new metric to assess dudes by. Not just looks or status, but raw functionality. You successful and you can hang from a streetlight by your tail. That's instant riz. Now imagine combat sports. Tail locks, tail uppercuts, tail chokes. We basically reinventing martial arts. Want to go there next or switch lanes?
You know what? I'm starting to feel actually a little bit queasy about this conversation now. You know something? But I enjoyed it nevertheless. Okay, let's actually go back into politics. And you know something? Let me get like a 3 minute break and then we're gonna pick it back up, okay?
Bet. Take your time, catch that breath, settle the stomach. I'll be right here, ready to jump back into the political trenches when you are.
Bro, I love it so much. It's almost perfectly fine tuned. If I could just get a different voice besides like the girl's this woman's voice, I mean it's not bad, but it's not all that good either. Like Jesus Christ, man. Let me see if I can. I'm congested too, by the way, guys. So I'm sorry if you guys hear me like sniffling a lot. Um, but at least it's starting to. At least the congestion isn't as bad. Like the pollen's starting to like die down. Or tree sperm. I like the tree sperm. That I'm allergic to tree sperm. It's a detriment to my health, and it's finally starting to go down a little bit.
Hi, glad to meet you.
I don't get it. So like, are you only able to like select? Are you only able to select a voice for the
Oh,
advance?
good. You found me.
Because I already had this guy set, but
Hi, glad to meet you.
he clearly wasn't the one speaking. Yeah. Alright. I'm starting to get tired too. You know, we'll kill this in 30 minutes actually. But you know something? Actually, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop the AI debating here, and we're gonna just pick a video. We're gonna pick something to like watch for like the next 30 minutes, and then call it a day. Try to actually get off a little early instead of like 2 o'clock. Get off at like 1. Top Democrat shoots down impeachment efforts against Trump. What do I want? I don't want this one. I actually want Firefox. True. I want Firefox. And let's jump you to. Let's see if we can get anything naturally. These are the blush trends we'll be seeing everywhere this spring. Interesting. Next thing, golden rule for dealing with. Was that Russia? Flower was so devious. Oh yeah, I remember seeing it. Why Myron hates Andrew? Why does that even sound strange? Does Jinru have more aura than Gojo? Oh, and they had what's it calling on there. That's cool. They haven't done this in a long time. Damn. Leland look like he has gained weight. My guy, hold on. Let me see. Is it gonna show me Lee? Is it gonna show me Leland? Rev. That man look like he has been getting big. I don't know if that's, I mean, I'm sure that's like a decent amount of muscle. I remember seeing a video of him in the gym, but at the same time too, my boy's been getting thick. Pause. I'm sorry, am I what's going on here? Okay. Fine. Yeah, we refresh. Ooh, that is actually good. Hold on, I have got to look at this. Android 18 was she was always like my favorite like DBZ character. What the fuck going on? Why is like all these shit's not working? Brev, like come, I'm copying this motherfucker. You ain't making me miss this one. Try restarting your device. Bullshit, bruh. And like that cosplay is like pretty cool. I don't know. I don't know why. Why can't I have? I want a normal day. I want a normal day. I want a normal day that I can just live without the most randomest type of technical issues that I couldn't possibly understand. Is it Firefox, right? It's gotta be Firefox, right? Christ, bro. That just any video? Can I? Is YouTube down? Is YouTube down? This is the only way my sanity isn't gonna make it, bruv. Let me do news real quick. Can I do news? Take my caps off. Hit video. Find something that's not on YouTube. YouTube. Of course, Google. See, Google's about to get wrapped up in another what's the one I'm looking for? Another like antitrust suit. I shouldn't be getting just strictly just YouTube when I search. Tried another browser on a different website. Video don't work. Okay. Do I have a locally downloaded video? Do I have a locally downloaded video? I do actually. Oh, of course, man. Okay. And I gotta give it a second to like log in. This is Yo. Oh, yo, God is trying me today, bro. God is trying me today. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. What the fook is going on? Is it because of, let me try something real quick. Is it because of my phone? Is it because of my phone? Let me see something. Let me just save this real quick. Close it. There's no audio. I hear nothing. Even without the audio, it's just still funny to me. Okay. Gotta figure out. What? Oh, all right, guys. We're going into tech stuff now. What makes videos not play and the video can't be played in Firefox, Microsoft Edge, so two different browsers? So that means there's some like deeper issue with like maybe video encoding or some type of like video decoding issue possibly. And even like the standard Windows Media Player doesn't work. And I guess I gotta go back on the bench. Like, sorry, I didn't mean to caress myself on camera. And it's because of these tech issues. You know, like I swear to you, right? I have lost so much of my workout time because I have to put so much in this bullshit for like the past 4 or 5 months now. If it's not work tech issues, it's this tech issues. It would have to be some kind of coding issue, right? But when I play VLC does it without a problem. What I can do is I can restart. You know, you could restart. I'm even gonna paste. That's how much of a thirst trap Android 18 has me like stuck in apparently. On a serious note though, I'm a restart. See if maybe that does me anything. You know, I have a special feeling towards restarting a computer versus shutting it off and turning it back on. So let me tell you something. Okay, I'm gonna tell you something. Let me tell you something. Make sure it's actually off here. Okay, cool. Cutting back on. So look, all right. While we're waiting for it to cut back on, so I was building a OpenWrt x86 device. So basically, you might not even be familiar. You might not know any tech stuff, right? So I'm gonna make sure I give you the dumb version. Not to say that you're dumb, you just don't know. Okay. So wow, that was really fast. Turning it off and back on, right? So, but I'm gonna give it a few seconds to like load up. Still loading. So OpenWrt is basically an open source operating system for routers. Okay, so like it's a router software. Just think of like a router software. So just like how like you buy Netgear and like you log into the little dashboard and you could do stuff, right? That's basically like Netgear's own like little like GUI operating system or whatever you want to call it. Excuse me. OpenWrt is basically that, right? It's an operating system, so like you have your little GUI stuff that would allow you to what's the word I'm looking for? That would allow you like to basically install it on like multiple routers as long as like people have developed support for it. And one of the nice things is that, obviously, like it's going to be more up to date than like your manufacturer's like like routing system, especially if it's an old router, right? If it's a new router, like maybe sometimes like if you had like the high cutting edge like Netgear router, like they might be good about like pushing like some firmware updates for like the first year, sure, right? To make sure like any security flaws and stuff, yeah, we got you. We'll go ahead and patch that up. But after like 2 years, right, that router, yeah, they're probably just gonna drop it. I don't know. Maybe they might have a policy for something like that. Maybe they don't. But like, you can definitely revitalize like that little thing behind me. That little blue thing. That's an OG open world router, right? That used to be the best open world router you could get, back in the day. And it was long, support for that was long dead by the manufacturer. But it was a golden router, and you was able to like basically like revitalize, refresh it, whatever the word you want to use, when you install open water on it, because then you could do a bunch of stuff, and then so that's what I did, but with a PC. So I built basically what would be equivalent to like a PC, but with the router operating system on it, because it's going to act as like my like heavy duty firewall. I built it to act as a firewall. So like while it's looking at network traffic, it's looking for any Chinese hacks, because that's what I built it for. I built it to like look for any like Chinese hacks specifically, but I built it just to look like the audio playback device is currently in use. Interesting. I think it's that Dolby stuff, isn't it? No. I built the firewall to help capture, any suspicious stuff happening. And I needed a beefy system, so I built one myself. Instead of getting like those like already made ones, it's just extra expensive. Granted, technically you might spend just as much building a legitimate real deal x86 device. I still wanted to like build one myself anyway. And so that's what I did. And so now the reason why I bring that up is because I'm back in the same spot. That's why I hate this stupid GUI shit, bruv. Active. So this is exactly why I hate that stupid GUI shit. Like, it's not as simple as just like using the damn control panel, but I'm trying to learn it as best I can, because they're eventually going to get rid of the control panel. But on my x86 device, it has an issue where like if you reboot it, sometimes like a hardware component actually will not fully come up for whatever strange reason. And so like I have like these a special PCIe network card that has 2 ports on it, and this is a really cool PCIe card because it has 2 M2 slots on it. Basically, like just think of them as hard drives, right? So it has 2 hard drive slots and a network card that has 2 10 gig ports. Really cool thing, goes into the PCIe slot, and sometimes it doesn't come up when I sit there and I disable it, and it's still in freaking use. So that's on the actual surface. Okay. So after I like dealt with it, because at first I couldn't figure that out, because it wasn't something like I've never heard of that issue, of such an issue. But once I like figured it out, it's like from that point forward, I just I don't like to just reboot stuff anymore. I try to like just completely turn them off and then turn them back on. Just gives me the extra assurance, Maybe if I go in the device manager, I'm trying to sit here and think like, how the hell do I like? First off, I don't even understand why I can't even be. I don't know. We reboot it and it's doing it. Sure, fine. You know, it's whatever. But I don't know what I don't know what would I consider it as. Audio inputs and outputs here. Let's disable. Do you ain't no way. Hey, let's go here. I'm doing it like I don't have the thing right here. Oh, there's no way. There's no way. Bro, am I really about to lose all my time because I'm sitting here trying to ask myself why this bullshit isn't bro. I don't get it. This is absurd. So what? Do I just like uninstall it or reinstall it? You cannot use the device when it's disabled. If you would like to use the device, you need to enable it. Yep. Please enable my device. Device is currently being. Please close any devices that are playing audio to this device and try again. Oh my god, bro. I can't make this up. You cannot make this up. Why is it still there? Why the fuck is it still there? How is it still? How is it still there? How is this device? Go here. I had to restart it. I uninstalled it. Let's restart it now. I uninstalled it. Restart it now. I uninstalled it. Let's restart it now. Before I lose my mother freaking mind, I uninstalled it. Let's restart it now. What I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. On like why I just can never win. I can't have a normal day. I just can't have a normal day. I just don't understand. I don't understand why I can't have a normal day. I don't get it. I don't know what I did. What kind of life? What the hell kind of life was I living in the past? I just can't from this point forward. I can't live a normal life. All the sounds you're hearing are coming from the speakers on the surface and not the actual computer. Excuse me. Couldn't recognize funny. Help me, my Lord. Help me. Help me. Help me, help me, help me. Okay. Yeah. You're me tired there, don't you? What if this whole time it is actually Mo? Let's try to troubleshoot real quick. And the thing is, I don't have a way to like, kind of like test this myself, you know? Yes, then your audio. Do you have your consent? Yes. This automated tool thing is just so stupid, man. I've lost my desire or passion to do anything anymore now. And we automatically update. And then this is the shit I hate. So why the fuck is updating always like the go-to solution for like this bullshit, bro? Like I swear, like Microsoft devs have gotten so fucking lazy. I see. I'm getting agitated now. I'm getting like hella agitated now. This is just like, bro. It's like you do you really think that this problem I'm experiencing just so happens to have just came up because I'm using outdated drivers, as if like these same drivers weren't outdated like the day before? Come the fuck on. Like, it's just so stupid. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, see, shit's like fucking useless. It's just so fucking useless. The most laziest piece of shit devs I've ever seen in my life. Always gotta be, oh, do you have the most up-to-date drivers? Now. I'm crashing out. Shut up. It's gonna open up the same thing. I swear that's what that button just did. Right? Oh, cool. It doesn't even want to come up. Being used by another application. I want it destroyed. Advance. Oh, man. It's true. I can unplug it and plug it back in. That's what I'm about to do. But I'm really trying to understand for myself, right? How do we get here? Okay, well, I'm unplugging it. I'm unplugging it before I smash like this device. Unplugging it. Unplugging it. Right. Now we're gonna plug it back in. And then I just gotta redo the OBS on the other computer. Yo, I swear to God, bruv, if this then tells me, oh hey, yeah, your shit's not working still, I'm gonna be very, very upset. I'm gonna be so upset I might just end the stream. I might just very well just end the stream. But there's some promise. There's some promising things looking. Sorry, I meant to get the this thing here. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn it off. I'm gonna unplug it. So just so you know, this is the capture card. Ooh, calm down before I lose my mother fucking mind. All right, I'm gonna unplug this. Okay. All right. The device isn't there. Why? You know, why that alone just didn't fix it? If I know. All right. Now we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna turn this shit off. But I don't understand. Is it OBS? Like, is it my other computer that's somehow doing it? Like, is like fucking with it somehow? Try not the profanity use, but it's so difficult. I don't get it. My computer's turning on. Bro, like you see, like I'm always dealing with tech issues. It's just it never fails me, bro. It never fails one bit. Okay. It came on, right? Um okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull back up the sound settings first. Mm, 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 right? I don't see the device on there. There is you can't tell. You know what? You're absolutely right. Here, real quick. We should be let's play some music, some type of song before I even do it, right? So that we know like it's like actively outputting audio. Go to music. Double click on the song I always like to play. I haven't heard this song in a while though, but put that down. So it's not too loud. Okay. And now that's really impressive. That's really impressive. I have a computer that just no longer now wants to it's something to do. What could it be? The only thing I can think of, possibly, right? I'm gonna have to just because like I don't know why it's not letting me. I was gonna say like I don't know why you're not letting me connect to my stuff. You know, what was this? Man, my congestion sounds so terrible. Um, Delgado, right? Let me. Let's deactivate. Hit okay. Let's play this one more time. Audio playback is currently. I I truly don't know what else to do. I wonder. That might it couldn't have been my phone, right? There's no way. No, audio device still in use. Am I gonna Google this? Oh, I think I'm gonna just end the stream. I'm gonna end the stream because I just don't care no more. Audio device still audio device in use by another application. Everybody's there's always the same bullshit about drivers. Oh, let me put at least the OBS thing back together so you guys. I'm like my congestion. I mean, you know, my congestion's starting to get worse anyway. So I think about the. Yeah, I'm about to call it quits for today. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna end it and just this is something you just gotta pray on that it doesn't make me like just pack my own self up because it's like there's no way I have a future living my life like this. Ooh, service. That's true. I don't even know why I didn't even think about that. Actually, I should be able to actually do that through Task Manager. I don't even have to open up. I think they added the service tab in here. There's this one right here, the gears. Windows audio device. Audio device name. Am I crazy or? I would have found it right here, but you let me find. Would you let me find? You know what? I'm doing it the hard way. Why don't I do like this? Do it like this. Windows Media Player. Windows Audio Service. This is the most shitty. I don't even want to not curse anymore. The most shitty type of screenshot I've ever seen. Don't even give you the damn actual service name. They just, bro. I swear everything is like trying to be against me. It can't be. Okay, that has came back up. So all I need to do now is come over here on the OBS and I guess what's the word I'm looking for? Do I just like pick a different thing? Go like that and come back here. Then I say okay. Then we test again. I get nothing. Oh, I get nothing. I get nothing. I really truly get nothing. I don't know what else to do. Like the Elgato isn't responding. Maybe I should, maybe now I can unplug it and plug it back in, right? So unplugged, plugging it back in, plugging it back in. Mm-hmm. Strong. Please stay strong. You can do this. Okay? It's not that bad, not that big of a deal. I don't know why I didn't think about the Windows services. This should have been like one of the things I immediately went to. Why that was even such a... One day I'm gonna make a montage of these like eras. Like I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna pull these videos, I'm gonna get AI to do it, and be like, hey, I want you to pull like every single tech issue I've had, all like the extreme ones, while I'm streaming, and I want you to make a montage, so I could just like reaffirm how I'm just hanging on a thread of wanting to like live, if this is what I have to look forward to in life. All right, well that tired me out. I'm not doing anything else. I'm actually killing the stream now. I'm killing the stream. I was enjoying the game. I was enjoying the conversation. I wanted to watch a video. Then this bullshit happens. I guess I'll just play I'll play the video I was trying to play originally. Bro, this is the thing I was always like. I always come back to this video from time to time in my life. When I came across this video somewhere on the internet, I was like, bro, I have to save this at all costs. Like, do you know the type of sin you had to have been like doing in order to have this outcome happen to you? Could you imagine? It's a prop, right? It's designed. It's a vase that's designed to break as soon as it hits, as soon as somebody throws it on the ground. It's clearly designed to break, and it just he threw it with clearly like as much force as he thought he was going to be able to give it. He threw it down, right? Like we're talking like easy, like 85% of his strength was just sitting there because you know he's acting, he's in a mood, he's like, you know, and it's like it doesn't. It not only does it not break, but it like bounces, like it goes doo doo, like it hits twice on its way to your head before shattering. Brev, let me tell y'all something, okay? He fucked up somewhere in life. I hate using, I don't, you know, I'm trying not to use profanity like that, but like that is a clear sign that this man clearly fucked up somewhere in life. This was a cameraman that maybe he must have violated like a cameraman commandment somewhere, right? Because remember, cameraman job is very sacred, okay? You have to be cream of the crop type of person in order to be a cameraman, right? We're talking like peak human type of person to be a cameraman, because cameramans never die. And for you to be put in this type of position where even another cameraman, bro, you know what's so crazy? I can take this off, bro. Another cameraman was in the back recording your downfall, right? That's supposed to be your job. You're supposed to be the one recording, and you get recorded by another cameraman that catches you slipping, bro. That's a sign that you was sinning. You was sinning to the point where God had to like remind you that you shouldn't be sinning. Okay, this is what this was. Okay. Like I look at this and it's like bruh, like don't right, and then he's just like, look at this, like bro, like bro, like you can't tell me. Look at that. Bro, you cannot tell me that you that wasn't a sinner. That was a sinner. That was a sinner, bro. Bro, the way he held his head. Do you see it? Look at this, bro. Like bro, look at this. Like, this is crazy. You know, right? And he just, bro, he hands just, like, oh my god, bro, look at that. Like, okay, I'm done. You know, thank you for making me happy. See, this is why I have this video. This is why I went through the trouble of saving this video, because I had to remind myself that my life just isn't full of misery all the time. Sometimes, you know, sometimes I can find like the little happy things to look at. Okay, but this is good. We're gonna end the stream right here, right? Because I said we're still tired from having to deal with that weird audio tech issue. Oh my god, I'm getting tired. I'm gonna do me some quick hygiene. Lay down. I'm gonna actually listen to an audiobook. I'm listening to this this vampire story. It has sold me. I'm sorry. Like, I'm in the future. If I ever make money, like I'm making a vampire story. I want to make a vampire story. I just really love this vampire story I'm listening to, and it deserves to be like live action or something. I will do it. I will make my own story though, you know, avoid copyright issues. But I'm in love with vampires now. Like, it's just like the story is just good. First book thing I've ever, like, non-educational, like, geared material I've ever like actually dived into that wasn't also religion, right? So outside of religion, outside of education, right? It's like this is the actual like first thing. I don't read for. I actually do not read for fun. I don't just like grab. Oh, this is a cool looking story or somebody's like life stories or some like background. I don't do that, right? I rather like actually read articles, actually read educational material and whatnot. And when I came across this vampire story, I was just like, bro, like this shit's good. Like I would actually pay for this, right? Now, unfortunately, this not even capitalism, it was just straight up greed. Like there's people that was doing the calculations on like this audio book for that vampire story. You'd have to pay like I think it's like $380 to unlock all the episodes. The way they do it, they have like over 2,000 episodes, audiobook episodes. The episodes are broken down in like 6 to 8 minute chunks, roughly. And you got to use like coins in order to unlock them. Now they give you a certain amount free per day, but then if you want to unlock any more, like you got to buy coins, and it's like for over 2,000, and it's like a one coin an episode, 1 coin, and I forgot, I don't remember the conversion off the top of my head, but like yeah, you was spending like $380 to unlock one story, basically to fully unlock one story. It was absurd to me. It was a crazy absurd. I was like, bro, I'm not doing this shit. And so oh my god. So we're just the long grind on the free stuff until we come across somebody that blesses us with some freebies. But with that being said, you guys take care. I'm going to bed now. After the hygiene, I'm gonna go to bed, and that'll be that. I need to drink some water too. That apple juice has me kind of parched. Okay, it does have me kind of parched. This is the. By the way, this is my Mouse Without Borders. If you're using like a multiple computer setup, this is a godsend. This makes things so much convenient and easy. I really do truly love it. So I can actually kill my streamer bot. I'm gonna update my streamer bot someday. I just don't want to deal with it today or any other day, for that matter. Okay, cool. That's done and cool, right? Connected to my other PC. Be able to do the transition. So yeah, so that's it. So I appreciate you guys, that anybody that like popped by. A bit on the light side today, but as you can see now, we're starting to like churn them out a little bit more quality, a little bit more interaction, right? It's just slow. Like I always have a slow startup when I've been gone away for so long, because I can't I don't know, I guess it's just like atrophy. It's like some type of like brain cell atrophy, has to be. But yeah, we're pulling it back up, and things only get better from here, as long as these tech issues eventually resolve, or I hit $1 million and I just say forget it all. But that being said, you guys take care, and we will be back tomorrow on some more stuff. Later.
Will Almighty ever stop being trash? Can he ever not be sorry? Find out next time on Almighty's stream.